you on that. So next question, what is the essential role of, from local government in partnering with the federal agencies like the Department of Defense, the VA, and others, and other community stakeholders? Do you see as something very specific that you can help us help you?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think the commitment that you would expect me to make is that we will become better stewards of America's resources. You know, after 10 years of budgets that were extraordinarily generous, and they were generous because we were sending that kid and many like him out to fight, but America's in a different economic position now. And you have to expect me to appreciate the economic challenges that we all face as America, and in that context, to do better with the defense budget, and you have that commitment. As we do that, by the way, I think, to answer your question, I think that private-public partnerships become more important, and that is to say, you know, our ability to find partners to help us with the issues that maybe the central government can't solve by itself, that becomes more important. And then the relationship of the central government and states and counties and cities in taking on issues like the care of veterans. You know, I grew up in Bayonne, New Jersey in the 50s, and so I know that some of you don't believe I was alive in the 50s. But I remember vividly, I was born in 1952, I remember vividly, you know, my uncles, my father, you know, those veterans of World War II, and I remember the identity. They had a particular identity, that World War II generation. And then I remember being at West Point as the Vietnam veterans came back, and they had a particular identity. And the nation wasn't as kind, by the way, to that group of veterans coming back. You know it, because, no, they weren't. And they weren't because they had blamed the warrior for the war. And, you know, that put us in a really difficult position, not only as a military, but as a nation. And then, you know, the Desert Storm veteran had a particular identity. And what I'm suggesting to you is that, first of all, the identity is generally shaped by you, not by me. I can tell you how I want you to think about this veteran from this conflict, but the way you embrace them back in your community will actually be what establishes that identity of this decade's warriors, this decade's soldiers, this decade's sailors, airmen, and Marines. So I guess what I would suggest to you is, as we go forward, we ought to have that discussion collaboratively about who do we want this generation's veteran to be? Because it'll happen if you let it. You'd actually, I think, want to shape it. And I think the way you shape it is by committing to making sure that that image of this generation's veteran is the one you want as an American citizen. And again, the fact that you're taking this up on your agenda is actually quite encouraging to me.
Great, thank you. So if you have time for a couple more questions.
Yeah, sure.
This is another question from a member of our audience out here. What is the soldier going to look like in 10 years? What do you think we're going to look like in terms of what your needs are? And we have a lot of young people here as well.
Well, they're not going to be nearly as good looking as this generation's soldier.
We're both joined the 60s Club last year. I want you to know that.
Right.
So.
That's a great question. First of all, important to note that the nature of warfare never changes. Whether it's a knight on a horse, or an infantryman with a bayonet, or someone with a remotely piloted aircraft. The nature of war doesn't change. It is fundamentally a contest of will between nations or groups. That'll never change. And what will change over time is the character of it, how it is waged. You know, if you'd said to me 10 years ago, so you want me to look 10 years in the future, if you'd said to me 10 years ago that we would have the kind of challenges we're having today with the internet, cyber, if you'd have told me that there'd be such a proliferation of ballistic missile technology, If you'd have told me that we'd have, 7,500 or so remotely piloted aircraft, robotics, I would have said, you're out of your mind. There's no way that kind of change occurs at that speed, and it did. And in fact, my prediction is that in the next 10, it'll be exponentially faster than the last 10 years. And so it's almost impossible to predict exactly what will happen, although I would suggest to you that robotics will play a bigger part just because they become, this artificial or semi-autonomous, artificial intelligence, semi-autonomous algorithms that can help leaders make decisions at a faster rate. All that will kind of establish the requirement to stay ahead technologically. But fundamentally, that same image you see or you saw on that screen will be the essence of what it means to be a soldier, a sailor, an airman, a marine, or a Coast Guardsman. You have to be willing to personally put yourself in harm's way at some times to defend this nation, and that'll never change.
Great, thank you. So final question. As one of only 18 military officers in our country's history to serve at every officer rank, which one gave you the most pleasure or did you have the most fun at?
Which what?
Which one of those ranks or positions gave you the most pleasure?
Yeah, it's got to be second lieutenant. Second lieutenants, I mean, anybody, where's those non-commissioned officers? Did you have any expectation of getting anything out of a second lieutenant? So it's the last time I met expectations. No, the truth is, it has been a genuine, honest to God, I actually know when I'll, I can see the end of my career. And every day, literally, when I get up every morning, I put the uniform on, and I know that my days are numbered in uniform because, the great generation behind me is, getting ready to push me off the top of the pyramid. And that's great, by the way. I tell you what, we're going to be well served for many years with the kind of young men and women we've got in the ranks today, and thank God for it. But, so, the job I'm in now is not a lot of fun, frankly. I mean, that's probably shocking to some of you. But, it's just not, there's a lot of things going on, a lot of challenges. But I'll tell you what, many of us came in the military, all of us, I think, all of you who served, you come in and you say, I want to make a difference, I want to serve my country, I want to believe in something bigger than myself, and I want to belong to something. That's kind of the motivation, really. And people will say to me now, man, it must be an awful time to be the chairman. And I said, not really. When I came in the military, I thought I really wanted to try to make a difference. Well, if that was my motivation then, I've arrived. Because now, and I'm telling you this because you also have chosen the mayors in this room, the city council men and women. You've chosen to lead at a time when it really matters. Anybody can lead. Anybody can lead when the resources are flush, the security challenges are insignificant, the nation's economy is booming. That would have been fun, probably, to see what you could do in that environment. But we've got a real problem on our hands now, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to solve it, and we're going to solve it with leadership, and I'm proud to lead with you. Thank you very much.